we have more or less addressed that question of how to get this concentration of sodium sulphide or the liquid phase reactant in the liquid draining from foam section into storage section. We are almost there. We recognize that Q1 Cb is the molar rate of carriage of sodium sulphide from storage section into foam section. So, the film starts at the concentration Cb and then it returns back at a reduced concentration Cb1, and we intended to relate Cb1 to Cb by subtracting the amount of sodium sulphide that would have reacted with the oxygen absorbed in a half film. So, this entire analysis of gas absorption under pseudo first order conditions subject to this initial condition and those boundary conditions was to arrive at the amount of A or oxygen that would be absorbed by the liquid film across one phase. And because there is symmetry, whatever is absorbed on account of the fast reaction would be reacted with sodium sulphide in that half film. If the volume of film is V1, then the amount absorbed times the stoichiometric factor divided by this volume of half film V1 by 2 would give you the reduction in concentration from Cb to Cb1. By solving this model, we finally arrived at the concentration profile, and from the concentration profile we obtained the gradient, the flux, we integrated the flux. In the last class I explained that that was done per area. So, we got this ratio m by m infinity. If we take m infinity now to be the amount present in the gas pocket initially, that would all be absorbed and reacted in the liquid half film given infinite time. So, if you calculate m on the basis of unit area, then we will have to include that area also in order to obtain this m. If m infinity is Vb by 12 times Ca0 star, where Ca0 star is the initial gas phase concentration, m will automatically be the total amount of oxygen or moles of oxygen absorbed in the film at time Tc star, which is the time of residence in the foam section. Once we have this quantity, and just take a few seconds to note that the expression for m involves Pn's and Kn's. Pn's and Kn's are related in turn from by these two equations. Lpn by dA equal to Kn tan Kna came from setting Gp equal to 0 in the process of obtaining the zeros P1, P2, P3 up to P infinity. And because we had defined k square as minus Pn plus lambda by dA, for every Pn there exists a Kn. So, solving these equations together, we can obtain the pairs of Pn's and Kn's, infinite pairs actually. It turns out that these Pn's and Kn's are dependent on the pseudo first order rate constants lambda. So, not everything is complete and rigorous here, because we have to now fall back at this consideration that the time of contact in foam section, although much larger than that typically offered in any other kind of reactor, it would be still of the order of maybe 10-15 seconds or so. The entire foam bed reactor, on the other hand, we would be interested in operating for maybe an hour or two or more, and in extreme case continuously for several days. So, the performance of the reactor has to be assessed over a much longer time scale than the time of contact available in the foam section. It was fair enough assumption that if pseudo first order condition is met, then lambda could be taken as a constant equal to K2 Cb, Cb not changing much. But on the reactor time scale of several days or maybe several months or years in a continuous pollution control equipment, it could be that lambda would change. The pseudo first order condition may still be met, but variation in lambda may no longer be negligible on the time scale of the reactor performance. Even in continuous, it depends on what is the relative time scale corresponding to the residence time and the reactor time. So, in principle, lambda dependence on CB, which in turn depends on time, may have to be taken into account for a long transience even in a continuous operation, or if it is a semi batch operation, then it will be a must. We have to take that into account, because the time scale of reactor operation, that is the time scale of this T, this is very different from the time scale for the foam section. That is the reason this is Tc. Tc varies from say 0 to Tc star maybe 10-15 seconds, where a T could vary from 0 to a very long time. The difference between it is like this: time is same, you start a stopwatch or say that at certain time it is 0, we have the time going on independently. If you observe closely, let us say we start time T equal to 0 now. Okay. This is the time when the gas has been allowed to flow at steady state through the reactor, and we just introduce the liquid. Okay. The moment the liquid comes in contact, this liquid containing surface active agent comes in contact with this air, foam layers will start forming, foam will start rising. Okay. It may take some time to reach the top of the foam height. Upon becoming unstable, the bubbles there would break, release the liquid. So, let us say that time is of the order of Tc star. From the beginning, the films become unstable in the same time as Tc star, which may be let us say 15 seconds. So, in the 15 seconds, the liquid or solution of sodium sulphide will keep flowing, foam will keep rising, the liquid will be carried up the foam with bubbles, some drainage will happen, we may not have hydrodynamic steady state here. Okay. Now, in these 15 seconds, T has been varying from 0 to 15, Tc has been varying from 0 to 15, but that is a foam formation time. After some time, let us say a considerable time has passed, the reactor operation will continue, the flow will bring in Cb, take it away, it will exchange Cb with the foam section. The foam would reach a hydrodynamic steady state, there will be a fixed height, so a certain Tc star would be there. And then we might say that our time itself, T itself, could be measured in the units of Tc star. Split the entire time of hours or days into these 15-second intervals. For every 15-second interval, we are justified in saying that lambda does not change much, Cb is almost constant because the liquid is locked up in foam section. Okay. And Cb is still high enough for its change to be negligible, and the pseudo first order condition which I showed you, that still being met. Okay. But on much longer time scale, let us say we look at a film entering foam section after half an hour. After half an hour, the concentration of sodium sulphide in the reactor storage section might have dropped, and this Cb for films now starting from storage section would be quite different from half an hour earlier. If Cb has varied, lambda has varied. If lambda has varied, then our roots Pns and Kns must have also varied. So, now we have this obligation that we choose certain time scale over which we have to allow for the variation of Cb to be reflected in lambda. So, one proposal could be that you split up the entire time T reactor time scale into delta T intervals. For every delta T interval, or after every delta T interval, you change the value of lambda. So, if we start with lambda equal to K2 Cb0. Cb0 is say initial concentration. Then after delta T, let us say 1 minute later, that Cb0 would have changed to Cb, and so we will change lambda from K2 Cb0 to K2 Cb at 1 minute. Then we will choose that lambda to be constant for next 1 minute, and so on. So, we will keep shifting or varying the lambda value at every 1 minute interval. Okay. And then we will try solving this equation to obtain the new Cb value. Okay. So, we can decide to monitor the reactor performance every minute. Okay. So, this will give us the reactor performance Cb variation with time, and we will use that Cb variation with time to update the lambda and therefore Pn's and Kn's and therefore M and so Cb1 after let us say every fixed interval. When we do that, then we have a load for the variation of that pseudo first order rate constant in our reactor operation. Supposing the concentration Cb0 is so high that we make this naive simplification that we treat the solution of this at the initial value of lambda to be our reactor performance. It may not be accurate, but let us see what happens. Yeah. You may say T is the time that we normally describe time by. Okay. That is the reactor time scale, which is real time. Over only a small fraction Tc star, only a small interval Tc star, we will have this foam section locking up films. And although actually the drainage is continuous, we for convenience would say that once the film enters the foam section, no drainage happens until the film bursts. So, we have intentionally split up the real time in the units of Tc star, over which we analyze the absorption process. Okay. We find out in Tc star how much M, how many moles of oxygen have been absorbed. We put them in this equation to YAM by V1. V1 by 2 is the volume of film. So, YAM is the total moles of sodium sulphide which would have reacted in this volume of liquid, half of film V1 by 2. So, Cb minus this 2 YAM upon V1 will be equal to Cb1. I have explained this. M is the integral of dA dou Ca by dou x at x equal to plus A. Maybe I explained this at the near the fag end of the lecture. Okay. You need a further recap, so I will go back again. Series, it should be converging. Yeah. They have more complexities, but the series has to converge. If it diverges, then we can't have that analytical solution, right? I will repeat here. Is it okay if I start with the concentration profile? Ca x Tc, that was obtained by inversion, that Fp by Gp form. So, we differentiate that concentration profile Ca x Tc with x and evaluate the gradient at x equal to plus A, which is the surface of the film. Okay. Multiplied by diffusivity, and dou Ca by dou x is positive because of the choice of our coordinate system, x is equal to 0 at the center of the film. So, at x equal to plus A, dou Ca by dou x is positive, x is increasing from 0 towards surface value A. Okay. So, dA dou Ca by dou x is the flux, which is the moles of oxygen absorbed per area per time, positive quantity. You integrate that over Tc star and you multiply by let us say the area of the film, pentagonal film. Then it will be flux in multiplied by area. So, it will give the molar rate of absorption integrated over time will give you moles of oxygen absorbed in time Tc star. Now, is that clear? That is nothing but this M, moles of oxygen absorbed across a pentagonal film into half film, one phase. Yeah. Okay. M infinity is the amount which will enter the film given infinite time. and we presume here that the oxygen in the gas pocket is limiting. So, it will all be absorbed given sufficient time. So, this m infinity is also the initial amount of oxygen present in the gas pocket associated with film. So, that expression for m comes out to be this, which depends on these Pn's and Kn's, which in turn depends on lambda. Yeah, it was in flow, I integrated the flux, and then I said that m by infinity, whether you define for unit area or for total area of the pentagonal film, will be same. So, this expression on the right hand side is same for m by infinity no matter how you define. Okay. If you define then m infinity as the amount of gas present, oxygen present in the pocket, m will be the total, then you do not have to separately multiply by area. Okay. M is total, and that is the total that we are using here. If you were to take m based on unit area, we would be required to put a area of the film here. Okay. Now, it is understood that m contains the area of the pentagonal film. Okay. So, now we got the relation that we are looking for Cb1 in terms of Cb. We substitute this in that equation here. We substitute for Cb1 Cb minus 2 Ya m by V1. So, we have solved the problem. If m is a particular constant for time interval Tc star, if we treat that as a constant estimated from this analysis, then we should be able to solve this equation. It is entirely in terms of Cb and constants, flow rates and m and so on, right. What I was saying was that if we say that lambda remains constant throughout the reactor operation, there will be straightforward integration of a first order ordinary differential equation in Cb, right. So, it will give you a solution. I am just using some shorthand notation here. P1 is Q by V and P2 is 1 by V Q Cb0 minus 2 Ya Q1 upon Q1 m upon V1. So, if I treat m as a constant, then P1 and P2 are constants. Okay. So, this is a straightforward equation of first order ordinary differential equation, will require integrating factor, and then you get obtain you can obtain Cb. So, ultimately you could write the solution like this: Cb equal to Cb0 minus 2 Ya Q1 m upon V1 into T, Cb0 and T. If m could be regarded or lambda could be regarded as constant throughout the reactor operation, but we have already admitted this possibility that lambda might change significantly, although for even the operation near the end of the time of operation of reactor, we may still have for time Tc star lambda equal to reasonably constant. But in say 1000th minute, the lambda value would be significantly different from the first minute. So, what we do is we can split up the entire time into small intervals, and we can obtain the solution only for that time interval delta t, and then at the end of that delta t, which could be 1 minute, we update the value for lambda, therefore Pn's and Kn's and m, and we can obtain the new profile that. Okay. So, it is another cascade like operation here in time, and then question will arise, what made us think of that 1 minute? Could we have thought of 10 minutes? That is our choice. What we could do is, for a given set of parameters, we could choose that delta t, let us say 10 minutes, and obtain Cb versus time from this solution equation, which is this. And then we do what is typically done in numerical methods, but please remember, it is not, this is not a numerical method, it is using analytical solution efficiently. So, you get, let us say, one Cb versus time profile, and then you repeat the calculations with 10 minutes interval reduced to 5 minutes, and then you obtain the other concentration profile for same parameters. Then keep halving this time scale until you find that the concentration of sodium sulphide versus time no longer is dependent on how small delta t we take. For the reaction at hand and for conditions we used, it turned out that 1 minute is sufficient. If you reduce delta t to less than 1 minute, your concentration versus time profile does not shift much. It is numerical integration in a different sense. It is not a numerical integration of a differential equation per se. It is because the reactor operation necessitates us that the analytical solution has to be updated. This is analytical solution. Okay. One could have said, and now here comes the, I did not want you to be confronted with that level of complexity, but that happened to be practically our final word on foam bed reactor, and that is do everything numerical, which means basically do not even say that I require pseudo Fustado conditions. I do not require lambda to be constant. I will take it K2 CB. Let K2 CSAB everything vary. Then I can get analytical solution. Now, what is the catch? Now, this is not a problem which is insurmountable on a fast enough computer. I could solve this entire problem on DEC 1090, a mainframe computer, but I had to use for 6 months the entire computational time of my department. Okay. So, it is something you could do, but I must take this opportunity to tell you why do we go for analytical solution. Numerical solution with fast computers is what I would call a brute force method. You just use the computational power and crank the numbers out, beat the hell out of the problem, so to say. What happens is you actually lose insight because your computer program does not give you a physical insight or mathematical insight into the problem. Here when you see this expression for m, you know how the variables are affecting the result. So, the thumb rule in analysis and mathematical modeling is, to the extent possible, do not lose the insight which analytical solutions provide. Having said that, the mathematical challenges are often insurmountable. We have no option but to go for numerical method, there is no option. But the first thing always is to see whether you can obtain analytical solution, then you understand the interrelationship of variables. You know how m will be affected. If I change diffusivity, I change solubility, I change the film thickness. In a computer program, I have just the code, I have no way of seeing how these relationships would be actually operating. Okay. That was one advantage. So, the numerical aspect of the problem was minimized by doing the foam section, subsection, submodel analytical. Okay. That is the reason. Anyway, so what happens? See, it is like this. Not always will you find a gas liquid reaction whose kinetics could be linearized. Having said that, the chemical engineers and mathematicians among chemical engineers have worked hard, very hard, and most of the nonlinear kinetics also could be linearized. And one foremost approximation which I should mention, some of you might need it if you pursue a PhD or something. There is an approximation by Hikita and Asai, a Japanese pair of chemical engineers. They gave a technique to reduce most of the nonlinear kinetics in a linearized form with a reasonable accuracy. So, there is a problem way around. So, it is not that you can't, if it were let us say that restricting, we should not have been able to publish this paper in chemical engineering science. Okay. It is of significance, it is of power, it is helpful. Okay. It can be a very robust model to base our design on without losing the physical insight. That is why this was a valuable piece of work. Okay. The parameters you require, you can figure out quite easily. Let me explain this. Q1, the drainage rate or the liquid carriage rate in foam section. If gas flow rate is Qg, then epsilon bar upon 1 minus epsilon bar multiplying Qg will give you Q1. Okay. The volume of liquid film can be obtained from here, Vb upon 6 into epsilon bar upon 1 minus epsilon bar. A can be obtained from the bubble radius, L can be obtained from Vb, Tc can be obtained from the height. So, all parameters can be obtained. Now, let me wind it up and say here are the results of validation. You see concentration of sodium sulphide plotted versus time up to 75 minutes. The points are experimental data and the lines are theoretical. And what we have varied here is the flow rate. The air flow rate was varied from 1.7 centimeter per second up to 5.1 centimeter per second. And what we find is that as you increase the superficial velocity, the concentration versus time profiles run deeper, which means you are able to consume sodium sulphide faster for increased air flow rates. You see actually epsilon bar is the liquid holdup, average liquid holdup, which you measure with the help of a manometer. And UC is this superficial velocity, we pass increasing rates of air through the column. So, the finding is that for oxidation of sodium sulphide, if you have more rapid air flow rates, the conversions are faster. The model reasonably predicts that. There is one thing to note here. As you go from 1.7 to 5.1 centimeter per second, observe the variation of liquid holdup 0.013, 0.033, 0.06. So, liquid holdup has increased. This is anticipated. If you have larger flow rate of gas, more drag on the liquid, more liquid will be held up in the foam section. If there is more liquid in the foam section of same height, the films will get thicker. Okay. One would have normally expected that for faster air flow rates, the time of residence of oxygen in contact with sodium sulphide in the liquid film would be shorter. One could even have expected lesser conversions, but the experiments reveal higher conversions. Tc star. Tc star will be smaller because height is fixed, flow rate is rapid, right. However, the experiments reveal the other way, conversions are faster. So, we also notice that the liquid holdup is increasing, which means the films are getting thicker because of faster airflow rates and larger drag of air on liquid. So, we said let us do a simulation which experiment can never tell you anything about. Experimentally, we can't increase the airflow rate and keep liquid film or liquid holdup fixed. There is no way you can keep the liquid holdup fixed. So, film thickness cannot be kept same. But in model, we can fix the epsilon bar. We can make it independent of UC and increase UC and see what happens. This is like a little bit of a detective work, percentage conversion versus time for different air flow rates, but keeping liquid holdup fixed. If the liquid holdup is fixed and you increase the air flow rate or superficial velocity, the model, which is in good agreement with the experiments as seen earlier, shows hardly any increase in the conversion. So, what actually happens is something very insightful. Thicker film means there is no buildup of oxygen inside the film, the gradients are kept sharper, and therefore, there is more oxygen diffusing into the sodium sulphide solution in foam for thicker films. And this happens to be the case for reactions which are fast, but not very fast. If the reaction were very fast, the entire conversion of oxygen would have happened very near the surface, and it would not matter whether the film is this thick or that thick. That is the insight we get from the model, and these results we could no way obtain experimentally. So, we have to understand the worth of a model. Okay. If the reaction were faster, then what happens that the liquid film thickness becomes even less important. Okay. So, we would have got for larger reaction rate, time of contact now does not matter, because what happens is the oxygen is absorbed and reacted faster. So, as long as the height of the foam is fixed, surface area is fixed, interfacial area is fixed. Interfacial area of the gas liquid interface is important, thickness becomes unimportant, liquid holdup becomes unimportant. Okay, yeah. So, if the reaction were faster, the liquid holdup would play even smaller role. On the other hand, think of a slower reaction. If the reaction were slower, the concentration profile would build up, and the residence time will mean the gradients will become less and less sharp. So, the absorption rate would decrease. So, if we had to see the effect of liquid hold up or film thickness, we would be necessarily forced to look at slow reactions, and slow reactions offer greater challenges. I may not be able to find time for that to discuss in detail, but the slow reactions will mean that amount of this gas phase reactant absorbed will not be completely reacted, and then in the drainage stream there will be oxygen coming into the storage, that will accumulate in the storage section, it will have to be accounted for, and that general situation only can be handled numerically. Parts of it could still be handled analytically, but overall model has to be solved numerically. Yeah. What are the factors? Time of contact. There is one, of course, the time of contact. You keep the height fixed and increase UC, the bubbles will move faster, they will spend less time. Okay. Bubble sizes also change. What happens is actually the more the air flow rate per aperture, per orifice, larger is the bubble size. Okay. So, if the flow rate is larger, the bubbles will tend to become larger, and therefore, it will mean the specific area will go down. So, there are a lot of these interactions which happen with one parameter, one variable changing. Yeah. So, what happens is that you have these factors which affect differently. Liquid film will be thicker, it tends to sharpen the gradients. Bubbles will be larger, they tend to decrease the area. Time of contact will be shorter if the velocity is larger, and therefore, you would say that there is less time for absorption. So, altogether what will be the effect, that only the model can tell us. Okay. We can otherwise, and that is the reason why we have a model, otherwise English should have been sufficient, right. Poets should be able to explain foam bed reactor operation, they can't, right. But I must not underestimate philosophers. The scientists, whatever truths they have discovered, philosophers practically even superseded in the overall wisdom point of view. So, let us not underestimate anybody, but specifically quantitative description of a foam bed reactor would not be possible only using a language other than mathematics. Mathematics is essential. Okay. So, if you look at these results, then you basically find that everything that can be measured, you can estimate within about plus minus 10%. Engineering expectation of models will be anything you can estimate to within 30%, that will be pretty good. In a situation as complex as a foam bed reactor, being able to develop this single stage model based on the structural idealization of regular dodecahedron, retaining analytical insight in terms of the sub model for foam section, and otherwise also reactor scale solution is analytical, is only the calculations which we do more frequently, and yet at a time scale of 1 minute, if you had to solve this problem numerically, you would require time scale of something like 0.0001 second to get convergence, and it would be enormously complicated to solve that problem. Okay. And computationally it will be very expensive. So, altogether this is a way one goes about modeling complex reactors, and what I could do is I will email you the reference for this paper if you haven't already got it, and on IIT Delhi website sciencedirect.com will give you a free download possible. So, I encourage you to take a look at this paper, and now I suppose we have 2 lectures more. I was just told that Wednesday and Thursday will be only 2 lectures possible, which means I should be devoting those 2 lectures entirely to solving as many problems as I could. It was also important to give you this perspective, but I can't undermine the value of problem solving. But let me first ask one last question. Have you been able to solve all the problems given to you so far, and have you submitted? I expected everything you would be able to do except one where we had the finite film and a first order chemical reaction, because you didn't have the tool for inversion. But now you know this Laplace inverse of Fp by Gp you can use to solve that problem. And therefore, at that time I said that you just submit the Laplace transform solution Ca bar. Now you can submit the inversion. But then I remember, I often think about this, I had spiked your minds with this problem about the gas phase resistance in a pure gas absorption, and I had only roughly indicated that the time scale over which the collisional barrier becomes important for pure gases is very small, of the order of maybe 10 picoseconds or something. But could you solve that problem or not? There was a problem which said that gas is being absorbed from a pure gas phase into a liquid, okay, and the rate of absorption was given something like I think 50 meter cube per meter square per second, okay, and then it was asked what would be the time after which the gas phase resistance will become 10% of the total. Do you remember the problem? If you don't remember, then I got the answer, you have not solved it, okay. So next time, that is on Wednesday, we will begin with this problem. I will explain the problem because it is important to understand, and it is related to the overall resistance being gas phase resistance plus liquid phase resistance. So from that perspective also it is important. We will start with this problem and solve as many as we can, okay. We will stop here.